do something else for us, please?
Will the jewel in Stafford's crown provide us with proof of life after death?
Kieran, is that...
Kieran didn't move.
I'm Yvette Fielding, and this week I've brought Most Haunted to Stafford and a place called the Ancient High House.
A walk down the town's main street is easily interrupted by the sight of this impressive building that has towered over its neighbours since around 1595. Although its benefactor can't be determined, it is known that this building was built to signify the wealth and good social standing of anyone fortunate enough to call it their own. Yet it has served other uses, with several shops and even a girls' school occupying some of its 4 floors. Many people, including several local mayors, have lived and perhaps even died here. But who can we track down in our hunt for the ghosts that haunt this recently refurbished Staffordshire Museum?
With such a history and so many ghosts, I asked Richard Felix and Ian Cash to spend last night alone and in the dark. And this is what happened.
I actually almost expect...
Oops.
What? Shit.
How did you hear that door?
Yeah. What is that? Mr. Marson? Are you around?
So would this guy look like William Marsden, or is it?
Marson? Yeah, this dummy here. He was the smallest chap. He wore a bowler hat, but everyone did. What the hell's that?
That's shuffling.
Excuse the language. That is not the building shifting.
That was shuffling furniture. That
was. Hello, someone there?
With Richard and Ian capturing strange noises, the rest of us would soon arrive with worried optimism for the night ahead.
A little girl has been seen running around here in the Victorian room. When approached, she simply vanishes. But perhaps the most startling image is that of an old lady who sits in this chair and rocks backwards and forwards.
2 years ago, I was up on the top floor by myself, went towards the door to come down the staircase. The door was closing, and I had a feeling something was different. It wasn't right. So I shot through the door, looked down the staircase. The staircase was totally empty. No one had opened and closed that door. Now that door is a strong fire door. A draft wouldn't blow it open. I timed it, and the time it took to close, no one could have disappeared in that time. Something had been through that door, but I don't know what.
A figure of a man has been seen walking up and down these stairs with such regular occurrence that someone called the police after they thought it was an intruder. On hearing the description, the policeman became alarmed when he realised it was someone who used to work here but had died years earlier.
In the 1960s, when this place was actually empty and more or less derelict, a group of American tourists wandering along the street here saw a gentleman standing outside wearing a bowler hat and an apron. They were standing looking at the building, and he invited them in, offered to take them all round the building, showed them the various places, the interesting bits, and then they left. Now, the next day, one of the students came back with a view to taking some photographs of the building. and found the building completely locked and boarded up. They couldn't understand who the man was that had shown them round until someone showed them a picture of a gentleman called William Marson, who was born here in 1840 and lived here most of his life, loved the house, and died here, and I believe still haunts the place.
Quite often, footsteps are heard, doors opening and closing when we know there's no one else in the building. We had a staff meeting in one room and everyone was in the room, and as we sat there we all heard the footsteps up above and everyone looked at each other to sort of say, did you hear that? And there was no one else in the building at all.
Many people feel as though they're being pushed or touched as they walk down this corridor that used to lead to the Swan Hotel. But it's the ghost of a lady that floats above the floor and disappears through the wall that terrifies staff and guests.
A couple of years ago, I collated all reports of various incidents in this building, and I found something like 20 different accounts ranging right through from the ground floor up to the attic. People seen, presences felt, physical things like doors opening and closing. There was a lot of activity in this building right throughout.
This writing desk has become notorious with staff. It seems to lock and unlock itself for no apparent reason. So, with cold spots, oppressive atmospheres and ghostly whispers, this is certainly a room that I can't wait to investigate later on this evening.
So, several members of staff and even a few unsuspecting tourists have been tricked by the lifelike apparitions that linger here. And it's these reports of paranormal phenomena that have enticed parapsychologist Dr. Kieran O'Keefe to test this building's current activity levels.
What about the location itself? Because it's not like Warwick Castle, it's not like any of the other isolated locations. We are in the middle of a busy town. So at night you're going to get people walking past, making noises, women laughing. How on earth are we going to be able to do a proper investigation with all those other noises going on outside the building?
Given that the majority of evidence is visual, its interaction with apparitions, even to the point of having a conversation with an apparition on the staircase, for example. There are other ones where people have just seen an apparition passing. That's the sort of evidence that I'm going to be looking out for, because it's the visual evidence that cannot be disturbed by any sound outside. If we do have any auditory phenomena, then it's basically up to John Gilbert to say if he thinks that the sound has come from outside, for example.
There's one particular apparition here that intrigues me, and that's the ghost of a lady that hovers above the floor in the corridor that used to lead to the Swan Hotel. Now, many people have seen that, and it seems quite strange that she actually goes through the wall where the door would have been. That's quite telling, isn't it, in itself?
It does make it a lot more evidential that she would have followed a route that existed in the past, but people can't actually see it now. In addition to that, what makes it more evidential is the number of people that have seen it, and of course their descriptions of the apparition, they match each other. So you've got a number of independent witnesses and they're collaborating or verifying the information.
We were all now gathered and ready to begin. But would mediums David Wells and Ian Shillitoe be able to scratch beneath the surface and reveal who is haunting Stafford's ancient high house?
We'll just stop a minute, sorry.
The energy that's left in here is very, very masculine.
This one's up and down the stairs, male.
There's some sort of secret, there's some sort of, they don't know why this stuff's being, it has to be hidden from everybody outside.
Accidental death.
He was basically, had his life ended.
Ancient High House has stood in the centre of Stafford for over 400 years. It's a place that looks grand, but as mediums David Wells and Ian Shillito may be about to reveal, this building is said to still hold the energies of those who once lived or worked here. Historical evidence shows that Stafford played its part in plenty of political upheaval. So in line with its modern-day role as a museum, the Civil War room was first to grab David's attention.
So it's quite difficult for you because, of course, you've got all these visual clues here, so you've got to ignore them and cut through that.
Yeah, it's not as the figures. I was aware of royalist officers around the place, but only in residuals. But some of the corridors, and certainly this room, feels like living spaces. But there's also a sense of confinement. So it seems as if they're imprisoned, but they're playing backgammon or chess or something. Do you know what I mean? They're educating themselves. They're not shackled to the doors or being whipped or, any of that business.
And as far as activity-wise in here, are you just picking up on the residual energy, or is there a particular spirit that's active in here?
No, not at all. It's just residual. But it's the old thing. People may see, smell or sense things in here because, again, they have a natural gift.
Yeah.
So someone could walk in here and they might hear something, smell something. So, they might hear pieces moving or smell tobacco smoke or something, but it's just that residual energy. We'll just stop a minute. Sorry, just sensing some residual energy. That's active energy.
Oh, right.
Because it's stronger.
Just as you said that, the y-axis on this EMF meter went up. It went up by about 12 milligauss, which is a huge jump.
Really? So exactly the same time?
It's exactly as Dave was saying, stop. And I was reading the meter there.
This one's up and down the stairs, male, up and down the stairs. Very quickly, very businesslike. He's medical, some way, shape or form medical, because he's wearing a medical tunic, you know how they have the button things down the side.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know he's not a chef.
That's quite modern.
Yeah, so he's wearing, buttons down the side.
And this medical person, he's up and down. So he's active here?
He is active here, yes, definitely.
What time period would you put him at?
He could be late Victorian, right at the early part of when medicine became less astrological and more scientific.
Yeah.
Are you seeing anything are you seeing a stethoscope? Are you seeing anything else that might indicate to us what sort of doctor or what sort of medical person
he's got? He seems to have just one eye.
Monocle.
Well, no, it's built out. You know the things that built out and they put different lenses on to make it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he's got on his head, one of those.
So I know what sort of medicine person we're talking about.
Do you? Because I don't.
Shall I say?
Yeah.
Well, I think with that particular eyepiece, you might be talking rather than a dentist.
Possibly, yeah.
Somebody that would be focusing in and leaning over.
Maybe so. Every room has a different theme to it. It's weird, isn't it?
This is why you can't actually take any notice of what you see.
No.
Because it's all just been put here. It's just bears no relevance. Every time you see a bed, you want to go, "Oh, ye olde haunted bed," but it's not. I'm sure that one definitely isn't.
Anything in here?
I'm just aware now of a female figure in the property wandering around. Don't think she's necessarily associated with this room.
I had 2 fresh batteries on this. I've definitely checked them.
We've had this problem all day.
And, I've had 2 now.
How long have they been on the camera for?
They've been on the camera since we began the walk round.
Oh, so they are fresh.
Oh.
Yeah, they're fresh. No, they're fresh. We charge them up. They're fresh. Yeah.
And that's something that's been happening all day.
All day. We did the interviews from the eyewitnesses. John put 2 full batteries on, 200% on there, and it lasted 15 minutes.
And having just learned of at least 2 battery-powered failures in just a few hours, another power source would draw our attention in the room next door.
I see, I've not been in this room. Oh, wow. Mr. Man behind the counter.
Oh,
What was that?
that light bulb just blew. Light bulb just went out.
Is there anyone here?
Yes. It's difficult because of the vigil, because it does seem like a shopkeeper, but one thing I would say is that that visual there, I'm trying my best to ignore it. This doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right to me at all. Even the outfit's not right. The outfit's overdressed.
Who is the man that I said when the light bulb went? Who's in here then? Is this a different person to the dentist?
Yes, yeah, this is a little man. I'm getting the words family business, so I guess it's a family man. There's the and son to it. He certainly has one son. So whatever he called it was something, then it would have extended to and son.
Okay.
I think the child might be called Billy. The father's name must have been Billy or William, because the boy is named after him. It seems to me the boy is named after him. A very gentle man, very connected to the whole community. So councillor, mayor, that type of thing. So extraordinarily active in Stafford. Is it Marson, his surname?
Is it? Yes, apparently. Richard Felix is giving that funny look of, oh my gosh, yes, you've got it right again.
Okay, because it's a sign. It's like a signage. It's like, William Marson, but he's really drawing attention to Anne's son. So this is clearly something he's very proud of.
Yeah.
I can feel something in here. Little girl is in here. It's almost like she's in the middle of the room and she's playing, she's spinning around. I have a sensation with this girl that she's not alone. Spiritually she might be alone because she's haunting alone. She's extraordinarily happy. She's a really happy little thing.
How old?
She's probably about 10 at the maximum. But there's a feeling of other girls having been here, and I don't know whether this used to be a school at some point as well, because I can hear kids singing. You know how they used to sing their tables?
Yeah.
They seem quite privileged children. They seem like an orphanage or something.
Okay.
They seem well dressed, is what you're saying.
And
Right.
would she have died when she was about 10, or is she just showing herself as that age?
She's shown herself that age, and I think you're right, I think she did die. Accidental death involving horses in some way. I can hear that clatter.
Oh, right.
So she could have been
riding
run over.
accident.
Or run
run
over
over.
by a carriage or horses. I think she was under a horse rather than on top of a horse.
Right. Oh, poor thing.
But she seemed quite happy now.
Yeah.
She's not... Again, she's not a wailer. She's not a woe is me. She's actually more likely to be tugging this.
And this room is done at the Victorian era. Is this, again, a completely different feel to it? It's not as it seems?
The room itself doesn't feel as it... the things around it don't feel right to me. They don't feel real to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would have been certainly part of a school. That's what it feels like to me. And maybe accommodation within that. That's why she's here.
And the little girl, what time period is she from?
She's, I'd say, early 1800s.
Okay.
There's an old woman sitting in the rocking chair as well.
Oh.
You're kidding?
No, she's sort of like, I don't know if it moves or not, but she's...
Who is she then?
The name I've got is Alice.
Okay.
Probably a housekeeper type, or she seems connected to the girl in some way.
So it's obviously same time period.
Yeah, she seems in some way connected, but not family. No family link.
Almost
there.
like a governess or...
Yeah,
a nanny?
or a nanny or
Yeah.
a nurse or someone like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Alice.
But a really, really nice old lady.
How
again.
old?
She's probably in her 60s.
So with several of this building's roles having now been revealed, we were hopeful of obtaining more of the same from our guest medium Ian Shillitoe, who began in the Civil War room with a rather unusual sensory apparition.
Now with here, which is something very different, we weren't picking up too much here. Again, it's just a residual thing, but it's associated with audibles. Again, I'm seeing, the old beer barrels.
Yes,
But
the
rolled
kegs.
around, like kegs of beer, rolled around. So the noise you're going to get is, if you can imagine what that sounds like on a wooden floor, you're going to pick up with stuff like that. And the beer barrels aren't beer barrels. The beer barrels are actually full of gunpowder or something that resembles gunpowder. So there's some sort of storage going on here. There's some sort of secret. There's some sort of they don't know why this stuff's being. It has to be hidden from everybody outside. Sometimes you get messages from sort of my guides or from various audibles and stuff. And one of the things I keep getting is talk about the apple yards, which I don't understand what that is. So maybe later, as in sort of orchards, and must have been orchards around here at some point, or some sort of fields, because they're very poignant to this. I'm hearing giggling. So we now moved up from residual. We're now moving into spirit.
Right.
Okay. We're talking about a lady that's giggling. She's often seen running around with flowers in her hand, type of thing. You know, there's the references to flowers which mean happiness, and so there's a lot of memories for her here. She's not grounded here for anything particularly horrible. She's not been murdered. There's nothing like that. And there's a name, Marianne. Marianne, whether that's to do with her or not, but that's a name that I've been given as well. And
How old?
I was at 17.
Oh, right, very young then.
Yeah. But I mean, in those days, 17, you know, people were...
Well, you're an old age pensioner then, weren't you,
exactly,
really?
yeah. So, let's
OK,
move on.
we'll come back, yeah?
There's a male energy in here. He's called Jonah. He's not from England. He's come over on... I mean, the reference points I'm getting is the Armada, but it's not that obvious. It's, for me, it's a reference point, so we're associating it with Spain. He used to be here. He used to hang around a lot here with the fire. He used to stoke the fire. He wasn't a maid, but he was like a male version of a maid. So he was stoking the fire. He was bringing the logs in, which came from the orchard.
Oh, right.
Right, OK, so there is a connection. So there's a connection between him and there's a connection between the lady. And as far as I can gather, there were some relations happening. A liaison happening between them, OK? There's a reference between him and there's a reference between the well, OK? So I'm going to go off on one here and say that he has been found out. He was basically had his life ended because of this. Now, one would assume he was thrown down the well. I know it sounds like stuff from sort of books and stuff, but this is the only images that I'm getting, and this is what I have to go with.
How old would you say this Jonah was?
As you said that question to me, 21 came to me, so he was slightly older.
OK.
OK?
Right. And what sort of things would he cause to happen in this particular room?
The door. It's something to do with the door. It's not footsteps. I don't think it's anything to do with footsteps. It's to do with actually physically moving of objects.
So we've all learned of the eclectic past that these rooms have enjoyed since their construction late in the 16th century. But would these creaking floors flood us with fear when darkness descends on Stafford Tonight?
If you want us to leave, knock once very loudly. Big knock.
Welcome back to Stafford Town Centre and the ancient High House that dominates its main shopping street. This place may well be enchanted by day, but how exciting would it prove by night?
Was that you? Did you just hear whispering? David, are you alright?
Yeah, I've just seen someone in the corridor. Who's that?
The majority of the rooms inside this museum are now used to depict a particular period in time. So we choose to begin our night vision vigils in the Stewart bedroom. But no sooner had David, Kath and I reached the second floor than one of us suddenly lost all sense of composure.
Holy cow. I'm nervous. Why am I so nervous? Why am I so nervous? Because you
It's a bit.
Was that you?
Spiky.
David, are you alright?
Yeah, something just had a little pop at my throat.
It did. What room? What room's this?
This is the bedroom.
Okay. What's up, David?
I feel it's really around my head in here. It's really touchy, and it wasn't like that before.
Quite heavy, isn't it? Feels heavy.
It feels different.
I feel, you know, like...
It's a spirit of a woman that I picked up in here, and it's definitely female energy still.
Is there anybody here? Is there a spirit person here? Is there a lady with us now? If there is, please give us some sort of sign. Let us know that you're here. Make a noise. Did you hear that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a noise. If that was you, please can you make the knocks louder? Something what?
There's something outside. There's like a popping. There's something outside. I think it's coming from outside.
If there's anybody here, please give us some sort of sign. Can you walk towards us? Same time as again, David. Can you walk towards us? There it is again. If there is someone here, a spirit person, someone that used to live or work here, please, we just want to talk to you.
I've got the name of Andrew still.
Andrew, can you hear my voice? Andrew, if you're with us, please come towards us. Knock on the floor. Did you hear that? I did. Knock on the floor. Did you hear that? I did. Could it not be them above it?
Yeah, but it's different.
Shh.
What's that? There's like a dragon. Yeah, but it's different.
Shh.
What's that?
Sorry, I've got the distinct impression something is looking at us. Someone stood in that corridor there.
Let's try William's name. If you're here, William, come and talk to us. Show us around this building.
Please, we know someone's with us. Can you hear whispering? Did you just hear whispering? Like a man whispering. You're right.
It's very, very spiky.
What does that mean?
It's prickly.
There's a man behind the counter, Kath, but it's a dummy, alright? Who was that?
Wasn't me.
Something over here to the left has just banged here.
There's another one over there.
I feel very uneasy. I feel like my head's really heavy and I actually just feel uneasy about being in here.
If there's any spirit people here, any astral beings, please make your presence known.
With the second floor having an adverse effect on Kath, we took time to analyse our footage, which included tapping, faint footsteps, and what sounded distinctly like a man whispering, and all under the watchful eye of some sort of invisible presence out in an otherwise empty corridor. So, along with Kieran, Stuart, Andy and Cash, David and I head up to the attic, having asked both Johns and Carl to sample the second floor for themselves.
How do you guys feel in here, John?
I don't know, I've not really been in here today, so it feels quite calm. There's a bit of ambient light coming in from the street, which always makes you feel a bit calmer, doesn't it? How do you feel?
Me, I can't. The trouble is, this room's been a bit of an anomaly, really, because it's not a great deal sort of happened in it, so we've not really spent a lot of time in it. I mean, it feels quite cold in here, but maybe that's just because it's, I don't know, silly o'clock in the morning and it's not. The heating's probably gone off. Should we sit on the bed and try and do a small séance? Shall we? The three of us.
Yeah.
Oh. Cool. I'm not that tired. I could quite happily sleep on there.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't normally. Great for a bad back, though.
Okay.
All right. Oh. Well, should we make contact with each other? Shall we? You all right?
Come on, if there's anybody here, any spirit people, please. Can you make a noise?
You hear that? I did.
What? What?
It didn't. I thought it came from down there, but we both heard it because you looked over there to them. I thought it was like it was tap. It could have been a drip. You hear that? I did.
Tell you what, I could have sworn I heard a but not
Like a human sound, or just? Is it difficult to tell? You can't tell.
definitely. What, you
Just a
mean
hum.
human as in living?
No, somebody going.
That was you. What was that noise?
Wasn't me. That came from back over there.
What, you
Just a
mean
hum.
human as in living?
No, somebody going.
Come on, is there anybody here, any spirit people that would like to talk to us? There are many cabinets, glass cabinets here. Just tap on a glass cabinet. Was that you? There are many cabinets, glass cabinets here. Just tap on a glass cabinet. You just bang on the floor.
No, we haven't moved. We haven't moved, do it.
Are you sure?
Honestly, we've not moved.
Oh, if this bed lifted, that would
If we're sat on your bed and you don't like it, whoever you are, whoever slept in this bed or in this room, do something. Scare us, try and make us leave.
Did you hear? Do you know like a film noise? You know, like a film wind noise. You know, like.
Yeah.
I heard that really faint.
Yeah.
I just heard a rustle in the corner.
Where?
Over there. I know there are people walking above us, but that came from the corner.
Yeah.
I just heard a rustle in the corner.
No.
There's another door over there, but it's locked and it's been locked all day.
Right.
There's a chair in front of it. Was there? Oh no, there's not. There was a chair in front of it earlier.
You're joking.
That's got to be
No
upstairs,
way.
isn't it? There's got to be someone else.
That was knocking. That was a deliberate knock.
If you're here, knock again 3 times. That.
If you want us to leave, knock once very loudly. Big knock. Can we go?
Shit.
Can we go now?
Do you mean to harm us? Knock twice for yes. No.
No way.
I'm not sitting here waiting me to harm us. I think we need to go up and get David and come back down.
Was this a crucial stage in our investigation? Although this property had provided us with several sounds, we'd all felt largely at ease with our surroundings so far. Well, with one exception. But having now asked out loud, were we now attracting danger from those that haunt the ancient high house?
Oh, I don't like it. It's making me feel sick. Can you get rid of it?
Kieran, is that...
Kieran isn't there.
Taking pride and place in the centre of Stafford is this modern-day museum. But with over 4 centuries of history ingrained in each of its 4 floors, does the ancient High House also still fester with those who once lived, worked or even died here? Mediums David Wells and Dean Shillitoe decide to test this theory in the shop area, and the response they receive certainly took us all by surprise.
Any astral beings present, any spirit people present, please make yourself known. Is that in the room or out the room? It's hard to hear.
Out the room, that was.
Okay. Tap twice to confirm you're there.
Yes,
Go
right
ahead.
underneath my right foot.
Okay. I can hear the vibrations under mine.
Oh my...
I've got one under my foot. Are you male?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Is your name William?
Yes.
William, do you want us to leave? Do you want us to stay? Move the table.
It's moving.
It's comfortable with me.
The chance we've got a really strong... Whoa!
William, join forces with anyone else who's here. Try and lift the table.
Put it on the centre, quick, Karen.
That's fantastic. We have a picture of you in the middle of the table.
Hey! Oh, wow! Whoa! Oh, you all right? Kath, you okay?
Kath, you all right?
Right.
Careful with the corners, that's right.
Just watch the corners.
Do you want to sit here, Kath? Do you want to sit here? Right in the corner.
You all right, Kath?
Yeah, I'm fine. Absolutely fine.
Oh, wow! Go on, William!
Oh, William, if you're angry that we're doing this here, would you stop?
Oh?
Oh.
He's preempted my thought. Brilliant. Well done, William. That's fantastic.
Do you know, I'm sure I keep seeing things behind that counter. I know there's a figure there, but about 3 or 4 times I've sort of looked over there and thought there's been something standing next to him.
I've had to take a few double takes. I've been looking, I keep looking over occasionally because you keep thinking you keep seeing something out the corner of your eye.
Yeah.
Now's the time, I think, to put the glass on him and just see, because...
Spell something.
Just see if they could spell something. We'll give it a last ditch attempt.
Can you make the table move once again, please? And move the glass at the same time.
Wow.
Wow, I've never had that before.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any other tricks you can show us? Something that you've learned?
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can you do something else? Can you do something else for us?
Move the table, please. Go on, move the table.
What's that smell?
What is it like?
Oh, I can't explain it.
Freezer on the side of my neck then.
It's like sulphur.
Yes. What's that mean?
Sulphur's not particularly positive energy.
Oh, I don't like it. It's making me feel sick. Can you get rid of it?
Smelling sulphur, then I'd rather close it.
Oh, yeah, fine. Please, please. Get rid of it. Why is it round me? I'm frightened.
It's
Don't...
not, it's just you picking it, it's just you smelling it, it's not around you, it's smelling.
Although a horrible smell and taste of sulphur had forced David to end this séance, it had left us wondering why a negative sensation had suddenly intruded our investigation. On the whole, the ancient High House had seemed fairly austere, and the physical reactions that we'd seen and heard on several vigils appeared to be the responsibility of one particular person. William Marson was not only born but based his business and family here. So perhaps it is he who hasn't taken kindly to this building's latest intrusion. But how would he react to a further visit from Kieran, Richard, Stuart and both Ians?
I'm sure I've just seen someone in that corridor, you know. No, I've just seen someone in the corridor. Who's there? Who is it? Hello? Honest to God, I've just seen someone in this corridor.
Have you?
Yes.
Where?
Coming this way.
Come on, if you are here and you're actually active now, do something else for us, please. Kieran, is that...
Kieran didn't move.
You are joking off. You are sorry, my
I just had Kieran in the full shot then.
What happened?
Get a camera in there, quick, over the county door.
What was it?
Get in there.
That door was closed. That door was closed.
Yes.
Well,
definitely sound in here.
It sounded like the door closed again, or
somebody was banging around in here. Oh my God! Listen, if you're obviously here, you're obviously situated in what is now. What's that?
That's just me opening the door, maybe.
You're obviously in the gents' toilets.
Back out there.
You're playing games with us, aren't you?
Amidst what seemed like some kind of wild chase after nearby noises, it became apparent that our night's work would end in similar fashion to how it had earlier begun. And not surprisingly, an immediate discussion began with our biggest sceptic at the centre of the debate.
I was at the end of the corridor, and he had me in shot because you half had Richard. I was standing there with a thermal imager watching you guys, and it was even like there were footsteps beforehand, and then the door went.
That was really good. That was.
Like,
I got the crappy shot.
We've just come out of there, having checked it, and there was nobody in there, and no footsteps, and that door closed.
We were well aware that these ancient wooden floors would creak from time to time, but can everything that we captured be attributed to coincidence? Some noises did appear to respond to our appeals for phenomena, with two particular extreme reactions later appearing to reveal just who was responsible.
Oh, wow. Go on, William.
Come on, if you are here and you're actually active now, do something else for us, please. Kieran, is that...
Kieran didn't move.
But would our footage prove evidential to those in the know?
For the investigation at Ancient High House, expectations were very high. During David's walk around, we were walking up the main staircase and David picked up on an apparition or a spirit, and my EMF meter that I was carrying at the time actually fluctuated.
We'll just stop a minute. Sorry, just sensing some residual energy. That's active energy.
All right.
Because it's stronger.
Just as you said that, the y-axis on this EMF meter went up. It went up by about 12 milligauss, which is a huge jump.
Really? So exactly the same time?
It's exactly as Dave was saying, stop. There is preliminary research in parapsychology to show that fluctuations in EMF can actually affect the brain in such a way as to cause hallucinations or to give the sensation that something or somebody is around you. For that reason, I carry an EMF meter around with me, a triaxial EMF meter, and this is to pick up on these possible fluctuations that could be caused by perfectly natural means. So there is no significance in the fluctuation of the EMF and actual David's picking up on the spirit.
Tap on a glass cabinet.
At one point, several members of the crew actually experienced auditory phenomena. The tapping sounds at several points did appear to communicate intelligently with the crew. However, we can't discount the possibility that it could have been somebody else in the building, even staff members or other members of the crew, who are accidentally making the tapping sounds even by walking across the floorboards.
If you want us to leave, knock once very loudly. Big knock.
I think the highlight of the whole thing for me was when I was wandering round. There was four of us, including Kieran, and a door, a toilet door. There was definitely nobody in the toilet. We went and checked. The door slammed itself. Come on, if you are here and you're actually active now, do something else for us, please. Kieran, is that...
Kieran didn't move.
We leave in the belief that our stay in Stafford had been worthwhile, if only to prove that some places aren't always what they initially seem. Sleep tight.
When Princess Di sold off her dresses, it was to start a new life, but to her and those who bought them, a lot then changed. The curse of Diana's dresses is exclusive to Living TV this Wednesday at 9 o'clock. In a moment, though, a gruesome rape and a double murder get some help from two psychics next in Sensing Murder.